I'm writing this from an interrogation room, barricaded behind a desk and a filing cabinet, hands shaking with the lights flickering overhead and something wet scratching at the other side of the door. I don't know how much time I have, but someone needs to know what happened. Someone needs to understand what's coming. It started last night just after 1:40 a.m. when I caught the last bus home after my shift at the gas station. Route 13. Practically abandoned, it cuts through a winding stretch of forest before looping around toward the far edge of town where I rent my little house at. Most nights I'm the only passenger, just me and Marcus, the driver. Marcus was solid, quiet, maybe late 50s, always wore a faded ball cap, always had a half-dead cigarette tucked behind his ear. The kind of guy who gave off the unshakable calm, like he'd seen everything and just didn't care anymore. He didn't scare easy until last night. We were maybe 3 stops from mine, just entering the thickest part of the woods. The trees crowd close there, thick, black pines that block out the stars. The air always feels heavier, like the forest is watching you. Then the bus stuttered, just once. The headlights flickered, the dash lights dimmed, and then, with a grinding wheeze, everything died. No power, no engine, no hum of electricity. The heater shut off and the cold hit me like a wave. And then the light came. Not headlights, not lightning. Something else. A white sterile brilliance washed over the forest, so bright it bled through the seams of the bus, glowing under the seats behind the windows, through the metal. It wasn't light, it was erasure, like everything outside the bus had been painted over. Marcus stood slowly. I remember the way he looked back at me, one hand on the door lever, eyes narrowed. Not scared exactly, just resigned. "Stay here," he said, "no matter what." The doors opened with a hiss, even though there was no power. Marcus stepped out into the light, casting a long shadow behind him. I climbed into the driver's seat, heart pounding. That's when I saw it. The ship wasn't above us, it was ahead, parked right on the road, like it had always been there. It was impossible to focus on, curved in ways that made my head hurt, like a Morbius strip made of bone and steel. The surface writhed subtly, pulsing like it was breathing or hungry. And then they came. They didn't walk. They glided, silent and deliberate, like something underwater. They were tall, thin, and their skin waxy and pale. Their arms bent in too many places, like dislocated joints, moving with unnatural precisions. Their heads were smooth, eyeless, featureless, except for a vertical slit that split open slowly when they got close, revealing a slick red membrane that rippled like it was tasting the air. They approached Marcus and touched him. Just a single hand on his forehead. He went stiff. Then they turned, and he followed them like a puppet on strings, walking up into the open ship. No sound, no struggle, just obedience. Then, nothing. The light vanished. The ship was just gone, like it was never there and never existed. I ran. I don't remember getting off the bus. I remember the cold air biting my lungs and the stink of tree branches on my face as I sprinted through the forest toward the main road. I flagged down a logging truck, babbled something about abduction and creatures and Marcus disappearing. The driver called the cops. They met me in minutes. They didn't believe me, of course, but they were kind about it. Too kind, like they were handling someone fragile. They brought me to the station. That was their mistake. I told them everything. 6 officers, 1 dispatcher, and 2 detectives. All of them sitting in their stunned silence as I described the ship, the things that came down, and the way Marcus didn't fight. Then the lights flickered. Just once. Then again. Then everything went dead, and the humming started. Not mechanical, not even physical. It was in our skulls. A low, nauseating frequency that vibrated behind the eyes. One officer screamed and dropped his radio. Another grabbed his head and staggered back against the wall, eyes rolled up into white. Then, the window shattered. The front glass imploded. The gusts of cold air filled the room, reeking of burnt plastic and decay. Something stepped through. No, spilled through. Like it was peeling itself into reality. It was one of them, but then there were many. Chaos erupted. One officer fired his sidearm. The bullets froze in midair, hung there for a second, and then reversed direction and tore into him. Another was lifted from his throat and then peeled open from his jaw like paper. There was no blood at first, just smoke, like something inside him had boiled before his skin caught up. One creature slid through the ceiling tiles and dropped onto the officer's back. It wrapped long fingers around his head and sank its hand through his skull like it was dipping into clay. The screams never stopped. They didn't even sound human after a while. I watched the sergeant try to fight one off with a baton. It didn't even flinch. It let him hit it, then folded itself inside out and swallowed him all. His body didn't fall. It just melted into the thing, like it was never there. I ran. I don't even remember getting into the interrogation room. I just remember slamming the door and jamming the filing cabinet in front of it. My hands were covered in someone else's blood. Now I'm here, listening. The hall is quiet, except for the occasional click, like bone tapping on tile, or teeth chattering in reverse. Then the scratch came. Soft at first, curious, then faster, more aggressive, long, sharp movements. Something dragging claws across the wood and glass. Something eager. I didn't dare look through the window, but I should have known they wanted me to. Because that's when I saw it. Standing outside, in the parking lot, perfectly still. One of them, tall, pale, skin like curdled milk, long arms dangling at its sides, like puppet strings. And its head was Marcus's face. Not as a mask, not a copy. His actual face, stitched into its head, like wet leather, stretched too thin over something not meant to be able to be worn. His eyes were glassy, lips pulled into a slight, pleasant smile. And then it spoke, in Marcus's voice. "Come on now. It's all right. Let us in. You're the last one." His voice was calm, kind, familiar, but there was something under it. A subtle delay, like someone practicing speech by playing it through a broken speaker. Like it didn't know what it was saying, just that it had to say it. The scratching's getting louder now, faster. The door vibrating like something clawing at it and at the lock from the inside. They don't want to kill me. They want me to open the door. They want permission. They want compliance. I can hear more of them out there now. Clicking, hissing, mimicking footsteps and whispers of voices. One of them is giggling in my voice. I'm not going to make it out of this room, but I need somebody to know what happened here. This isn't science fiction. It's not an invasion. It's replacement. And if this is just the beginning, I don't think we're the dominant species anymore. Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. It's a little different than we usually do, and the new style of the thumbnail and everything changing might throw off some people, so I do apologize for that. It's probably going to be like that for a while. But hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully the algorithm did treat me nicely, which probably not. But if you are new to this channel and you like what you heard or enjoyed anything on the channel, make sure to like, comment, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to turn on those post notifications as well, so then every time I upload, hopefully you'll get some type of notification. But yeah, make sure to check out the links in the description as well. Twitter, Instagram, everything like that, including my Gmail if you want to submit a story. But with that being said, stay safe, stay scary, and I'll see you in the next one.